where it was and all these things. And looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Like, it makes no sense why I did it. But I think subconsciously there must have been some reason why I made these things up, maybe to like validate myself and not tell him, you know, that like, oh, I was wasted and like some random guy from another town, you know.
But in reality, that's what happened, and it was sexual assault. It was not wanted. It was not validated. Like, it wasn't okay, and that's where the misconception is because it was not.
But that comes, I think, from people who are, like, one, make it up. Like you said, cry wolf. A lot of drunk girls cry wolf because they're not happy who they slept with. And that, I think...
Or, like, I feel like with, like, athletes or, like, celebrities.
Yes, but, like, even outside of that, like, people just make shit up. But also, I think the other side of that on the drunk topic, because obviously that's a very common one, I think that, unfortunately, like, when I've seen this in my own house with people I know and, like, my friend group long ago, is somebody is actually throwing themselves on top of a guy. I know people are already sweating hearing me say this because they're curious where the fuck I'm going to go with this opinion. But, like, on top of a guy, like, making out with him, like, as like, as giving him all the signs. Yeah. And then they sleep with them, but they black out, like, right before that. I'm giving an actual situation without names. Black out right before they sleep with them. And then the next morning are like, rape. And it's like, that's not rape. Unless you said no, unless you actually said no, of course, but, like, just because you blacked out, there's a fine line in this, obviously, and I'm fully for, like, if a girl is drunk, guys, don't go there. That's, like, the safest thing to say, is don't go there. But my friend...
But it's hard when they're, like...
When they're drunk.
Like, that's what they want.
Yeah, and I get that.
The thing?
I do get that, but I think that, like, I think it's, if you have blacked out after you made out with them, touched their dick 50 times, and all of that, whispered things in their ears, and then you blacked out and don't remember, for you to wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, a rape. It's like, well, let's think about this for a second.
Self-reflection.
Like, self-reflection. Because then there's girls like you who it actually happens to, and it discredits that. So it's kind of like cry wolf in a different way. It's like, you made a poor choice.
Well, that's what I mean.
That doesn't mean,
lack of terms to cry wolf, but it's that situation.
Yes. Like, you made a poor choice. That's not
I look back on guys I've slept with all the time, and I'm like, oh God, like, you know, I wish I did not make that decision, and it wasn't my decision.
We all have that.
But same thing, like, as you, Kyra, I had a friend who slept with this guy literally in the same room as me and Kyle on the couch, saw the whole thing go down, and then the next morning she's like, oh my God, he raped me. And I was like, looks like you were having a good time over there. Like, I don't. And we got, like, calls from detectives and stuff, and I was just like, wow, really? Because that she was so embarrassed that she did that, you know.
People don't realize unless you don't realize unless you're like you and you've been through it, that, like, do you know what a fucking statement that is?
Well, that's that's affecting somebody's life, like,
forever.
Very extremely.
Mm-hmm. Even if it ends up not being true, it's too late.
Yeah.
You already have said those things about them.
The rumors out there, and, like,
and, like, that is putting somebody's character in question, which could be actually, like, validated to be a question, but otherwise